Hey everyone, I come on here because I want to go over our 10-step e-guide, how to date effectively. And I want to go over step 4. So far, currently on YouTube is step 1 and step 2. Tonight, I want to go over step 4 because I feel step 4 is a vital, important step. And of course, if you want all of the steps, it's available at www.ourfaithconnects.com. As advised before, I probably won't go through all the steps. However, I do want to go over the steps I find that stand out to me the most. I want to thank everyone who has already had the opportunity to review our free e-guide on how to date effectively. We hope to bring insight on the importance of dating effectively when fulfilling godly purpose and assignment. So our 10-step e-guide consists of step 1, test the fruit. Step 2, get to know your date. And we did go over those 2 steps already. Currently available on YouTube, and it's on our platform at www.ourfaithconnects.com. We didn't go over step 3, identify compatibilities, but again, it is available on our website. Step 4, know the differences. Step 5, acknowledge imperfections. Step 6, discuss personal backgrounds. Step 7, observe healed and unhealed traumas. Step 8, speak future plans. Step 9, make boundaries and expectations known. Step 10, align living structures. And then we did have a bonus dating checklist that will be very helpful as well, especially because it aligns with the different steps and you can kind of check them off as you go. However, as you're checking it off, the moment that you realize that someone is not aligning with where God is taking you, they are not sent from God, they are not aligned with where you're going in your future, there's no need to waste your time. Better to just cut them off and move on, opposed to keeping them around, keeping them as a plan B or another option. Just let them go. So let's get into it. Step 4, know the differences. So as we're gearing towards the differences, it's important to acknowledge what they show you. You must pray for discernment and clarity on whether you should move forward in getting to know someone. Because a lot of times in the beginning stages, people will try to impress you. And the reality of that is when it comes to impressing someone, they'll do what they need to get you, but then they will stop once they feel they have you. So we have to pray for discernment so that we can discern the spirit, we can discern what they're actually showing us and not what we want to see. There are times where people show us exactly who they are, but we decide what we want to see, or we decide what we want to ignore. Or we be like, oh, it's not a big deal. He's always like that. He talks like that to his mom all the time. He's always never answering calls, right? But I know that he's super busy working, right? We then start to make excuses for people's behavior. So we want to make sure that we're praying for discernment, that we are able to see things clearly, not on our own desire or our own emotion or what we would like for it to be, but exactly what it is that's happening. In that prayer, I always say, God, if this person is for me, let them stay. If not, remove them. And then they're gone. So pray that prayer. If you really want to know, pray that prayer and let's see how God responds to it. In addition to that, we also have to know and be mindful of why they were meant to connect with us. There are times where people are sent in our lives by God, and we're actually meant to be a destiny helper. We're actually meant to mentor them. We're actually meant to encourage them. We're actually meant to get them out of the tough season that they're in, and they're not our significant other, right? We need to know, is this person meant to date, or is this person meant to help? A lot of times we date in the help. They could have came into our lives to help us, to encourage us, to pour a word into us, but then we started liking them. And that wasn't the intent. It shouldn't have been the intent because God didn't send them for that purpose. So who is who? Knowing who we're meant to influence and knowing who we're meant to date is two different things, and we need clarity on that. We absolutely need clarity on knowing that this person is meant to be someone that I take seriously in that manner, or this is someone that I'm supposed to just encourage to get them through the season. We can't intertwine them because then it brings confusion, and then it can lead someone to be misled and now emotional because now they're catching feelings and the other person doesn't feel that way. That person just really wanted help, or vice versa. So you want to make sure that we know who it is being sent and why they were sent. Were we called to help them, or were they sent to date? Who is who? So whenever you're looking to date and God starts sending people your way because you are called to help the body of Christ. So why were they sent? Were they sent so that you can encourage them, or were they sent to connect deeper? Wisdom tells you to test the spirit, know the spirit, and then take it to God to know who are they and why were they sent? Why were they placed in your life? There are soul ties that will attach to you that you were never supposed to endure. So dating different people, heartbreaks, their traumas, a lot of experiences, all these different ties, connections that we were never meant to be in. So you're trying to figure out this person that you were dating, they were always depressed. Now you guys are no longer dating, but now you're always depressed. And you're trying to figure out, why am I always so sad? Right? You got to consider the different soul ties when we're connecting with people and we're not attaching ourselves to people in the way or manner that was never meant at all. Now we know better, but just moving forward, we want to ensure that we're praying to God to know why they were sent to us. You can find yourself involved in circumstances by dating the wrong person that you would have never imagined for yourself. So connecting with the wrong people can really affect your life, and your life will never be the same again. You wake up one day, your life is normal. The next day, you're like, what happened? Who sent you? Where you come from, right? So we want to know who the person we're dating, knowing exactly what they're involved in, and if this person is meant, so that you're not stuck in circumstances that was never meant for you at all. You dating someone that's always in trouble with the law. Now the law is looking at you, guilty by association. Now you're getting involved, you're needing to go to court because of him. We want to make sure, who are we dating? This can happen because we're going on our own understanding, because we desire that person so much without seeking God to get clarity to know if this person is meant for us. We don't want to allow attraction or momentary gain to ruin the future plans God had for us. Because we went on our own desire, we thought they were fine, okay? We thought they was the bomb.com. We started dating someone that God never sent, and now they're leading our lives in a direction that we would have never expected. We need to know who we are dating. And that's why we went over step 2, getting to know your date and asking those questions and observing answers and observing actions, because we want to ensure that nothing catches us by surprise. When identifying differences, we are to point out and notate everything that we see. Step 3, we talk about different compatibilities, different ways that you guys can be compatible. Step 4, we're talking about the differences. So we want to point out everything. We want to point out the pros, the cons, compare, contrast. We want to say, okay, what pros outweigh the cons? What cons outweigh the pros? Is there any area for compromise? Is there any area where we can be more understanding to? Is there any area where we're saying absolutely not? Is there any area that we're saying I'm setting a boundary? We need to know. No, everything has to be notated. It doesn't have to be notated by writing it down, which I do highly recommend, writing things down, keeping it to your remembrance, but just notate in your mind. Okay, here's some differences. When he gets upset, When she gets upset, do they punch walls? Do they damage product? Do they damage property? Right? We want to notate things. What outweighs what? What is something that you can deal with? What's something that's tolerable? What's intolerable? What's tolerable? We want to know. Got to write it down. Because what happens is a lot of times is when people go through things, they tend to forget what happened after they forgave the person. So what ends up happening is that that person continues to do it. And because of that person's love for them, they continue to accept it every time they forgive them. But it worsens with time because that person has no desire to change their behavior. So we have to know if it's something that you can compromise. Is it something that's tolerable? Is it something that's intolerable? Is it something that you just cannot accept? There's no way in the world would you accept it. Write it down or keep it notated in the back of your mind. Even though that there's differences, does not mean that everything is a big deal. To one person, it may be a big deal, but to someone else, like I can handle that. That's not a big deal. So we need to know what can we handle, what we cannot handle. As long as we're analyzing everything that's being presented, we're not ignoring any signs at all. We're acknowledging every sign, everything. We're just acknowledging it. We're going to analyze and we're going to acknowledge it. It may not be a big deal. It may be something like, oh, that's not really something that I can see becoming a problem for me at all. That doesn't bother me. Yeah, there's imperfections, but they don't bother me. Okay, cool. But we just need to ensure that we addressed it and we acknowledged it. That is not a problem for you. So I did write down some red flags because, hey, sometimes people don't know. They don't be knowing what red flags are, or they don't know the different red flags to look out for when you're dating people. So one, what they say versus what they do. That's the biggest red flag to me. If they say, oh, I'm going to take you out, get dressed nice every weekend. They tell you to get dressed nicely to go on a date, and then all of a sudden they don't show. They do a rain check 3 hours before the date. Okay, do they say and what they do they align? Is it the same thing? Do they do what they say? Do they say what they do? We need to know. Because in that, you'll be able to start monitoring, like, okay, is this person a liar? Is a pattern now that they're not doing what they say. Are they a liar? You start asking your questions like that. Are they trying to play me? Are they trying to deceive me? Are they just using me? Are they trying to take advantage of me? If they're not doing what they say, then what is their point of being around me? What is their point of being in proximity of me? What is their point of having access to me if they're not doing what they say? Are they trying to get over? You start asking yourself more questions to then make a decision. Okay, this person's just wasting my time. This person doesn't want anything seriously. This person may have someone else on the side. Red flags, being avoidant or dismissive when addressed. So when you are being direct with someone and you're being honest and very straightforward with someone and transparent, and they're being avoidant or they're being dismissive when you're talking about a specific thing that may bother you or a specific thing that you want to know, it's a red flag. Why are you dismissing what I'm asking you? Why are you dismissing the conversation? What is the issue? Red flags, unable to control their emotions. And this is a big one, especially with dating, marriage, unity, networking, relationships, friendships, all of it. We want to make sure that we're able to control our emotions. There are going to be times where certain things can get us there, but we have to make sure that we're containing our emotions and we're not allowing our emotions to dictate our actions, what we say out our mouths, how we feel about ourselves, and what we think. It's emotion. They're temporary. One moment you can be mad today, the next day you can be happy. So we got to be able to control our emotions. And if in the moment the conversation is too escalated, better to walk away, calm down, take a moment to breathe, process everything that was said, come back to the conversation when your emotions are controlled. opposed to continuously arguing or raising your voice, getting your blood pressure high, or just becoming more aggressive or agitated because of what's happening around you. Better to take a break from the conversation, walk away, come back when you're level-headed, when you are clear-minded, and then have the discussion. Some people don't like that, but there's moments where that has to happen. And you can say that, like, there's a moment right now that I just need some fresh air. I need to think about what was discussed. I'll get back to you. And that's not dismissive. That's being able to process everything so that you are being able to respond in a manner that is acceptable. Red flags, easily offended, always offended. We talk about that often. We want to make sure that someone is always offended by everything that you say. Different ways we can go about that. Someone can be prideful, boastful, arrogant. They can be anxious. They just don't care at all about what other people have to say or other people's opinions, or they don't consider other people that care about them. Easily offended all the time. I mean, nothing's worse than someone that's always offended when you're trying to help them or trying to correct them or just being real with them about a situation. Red flags, unable to hold themselves accountable, controlling. They want to control all narratives, control all outcomes. They want to control what you do. They want to control how you dress. They want to control who you speak to on a day-to-day. They want to control when you come in the house. They want to control everything about you. They want to monitor everything about you. That is a red flag. There's a difference when someone cares about you, and so they want to protect you because if you are a woman, they're your man, so they want to ensure you're protected and you're secured, right? Opposed to wanting to control everything that you do. Red flags, aggressiveness, always aggressive. Their responses are always aggressive. Their actions are always aggressive, just aggressive at all times. That's a red flag to me. Red flags, impulsive behaviors. They do things without thinking things through, without processing everything. They just move, they just act without really taking the time to see, one, if it makes sense to even behave in such a manner. Two, if it makes sense to the conversation, if it makes sense to what's to take place next. They just do. And that's the problem. We got to make sure that we're not just doing, we're processing everything before we act. So if there's impulsive behaviors, that is a red flag. You find people who are impulsive, they apologize more because they always acting, well, maybe I shouldn't have did that. Well, maybe I shouldn't have responded like that. Or maybe I shouldn't have been around that person. They end up thinking about things after the damage is done. The damage already done now, so that's a red flag. Impulsive behaviors. Here are some other red flags. Differences in beliefs and religion. That's important because you want to make sure that if you are a woman and you have a belief in Christianity and you believe in the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, you want to make sure that whoever's leading you have the same belief system as you. And you guys are able to have conversations regarding that topic, and it aligns, it connects, so you guys can build the kingdom together because we're called to make disciples of all nations. So if one person believes that's what we're called to do and the other person doesn't, there's a conflict there. How is this person meant to help you fulfill assignment if they don't even believe what you believe? You guys are praying to two different people. So you want to make sure that you guys connect with the same beliefs, understanding biblical principles. Because when God places two people together, no man should separate, but also it is to fulfill assignment, is to fulfill purpose, is to go after things together. Red flags takes nothing seriously. I mean, it's okay to joke around and have a kiki, but when you're really taking this dating walk seriously, you want to make sure that the person that you are dating takes life serious. There's some people that don't take life seriously at all. So they live their life on the edge in every circumstance, which is why they tend to have impulsive behaviors because they don't care about life. They don't care about their life. They don't even know the purpose of life at all. They don't understand. So they don't take life seriously. So they end up being very reckless in their behavior and their actions because they don't take life serious. There's nothing worse than one person who really takes their life serious, they're focused, they have their priorities in line, they know what they want to do, they already know how they're going to accomplish things, and then someone that's lollygagging, la 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 la. Don't take nothing serious. Everything's a joke. I mean, everything. I laugh a lot, but you can't take everything as a joke, right? So we want to make sure that when we're connecting with people that they show you what they're passionate about, what they talk about, what they do, and they take life seriously. They understand the worth and the value of themselves so that you're not having to spend your entire time trying to build up their esteem. Because there are some people who get in relationships and they have very, very low self-esteem, and they always want the person that they're dating to validate them all the time. And the moment that they're not being validated, it's a problem. Oh, you don't love me anymore. You don't think I'm pretty anymore. Right? So then those type of people will then start to pick arguments because then they feel loved or supported because of the attention that they're getting, even if it's bringing conflict or division in the unity. I want to make sure that this person takes life seriously. They understand their worth, they understand their God-given identity, and they have priorities. Red flags, they show no interest. I mean, that in multiple ways. They show no interest in you, first and foremost. If they're not showing interest in you, then I don't see what the point is. If they're not showing like, hey, I'm showing up for you, I'm contacting you every day, I'm being there for you, I'm checking in with you. If they're not even doing that, then that's already a red flag because you're not even showing interest in me, my safety, care, or concern for me. Then why in the world would I take you seriously? So that's a red flag. They show no interest, and that can be interest in what they do in life, how they show up for other people. If they're just showing no interest, that's a red flag. Other red flags, constantly seeking attention and validation. They have no priorities. Red flag, using weaknesses against you. This is big because there's sometimes we talk to people to confide in them, to get their viewpoint on something, their perspective, because there are times where we need to share or need to be open to not only release, but you want to ask somebody else, like, am I bugging? Am I making a bigger deal than what it needs to be? Like an outside lens. There are times that we need to speak to someone. We got to be mindful who we speak to and that we're not oversharing. But there are moments that we can confide in our loved ones and our friends or the person that we're dating, the person that we're dating with intention. But if they use what you say against you as a weakness because now you're at a place of vulnerability or because they are upset with you, that is a red flag. If you tell them, oh, um, something about you personally, and then all of a sudden, when they're upset with you, they use it against you. That's a red flag to me. So you want to make sure that people are not using your weaknesses or things that you say in places of vulnerability or just openness, that they're not using it to try to weaken you or try to use it against you because it's a trigger for you or it's a pet peeve of yours. They're actually taking in what you said and in ways that they can help build you to strengthen you. That's what they should be wanting to do with the information. In areas where you're weak, they should be strong and vice versa. But the moment that you see someone what is quick, readily waiting to use what you say against you in another season or moment in time because they're upset with you or because they just like to talk bad about you or they try to intentionally hurt your feelings. That's a red flag. No plans for the future. What are your future plans? What do you expect out of life? What are you gearing towards? What direction of life are you heading towards? How is God using you? What are you called to do? They don't have no plans for the future. That's a red flag because they shouldn't be dating at this point. They should be getting their life in order. They should be rearranging their life to a direction that is pleasing to God and that they know is where they need to be. If you don't have any plans for the future, this is not the season to date. You got to know where you're going. And the problem is because we just think about love, 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 more love, we're not considering futuristic plans. No, the future matters, and we got to ensure that we're dating people who have a future. Next, red flags expresses a lot of hatred, just hate, 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 hate. And you want to know something? It don't even have to be hate towards you, but it could just be hate to other people. How they talk about other people to you, how they talk about loved ones to you, how they talk about life to you, just hate. That's a red flag. Because there's a chance that there may be a time where that same hate that they give out to other people gonna come back to you. So when someone is expressing a lot of hate all the time, that is a red flag. Red flags, just super flirty, always in everyone's face, just real open and just all, just doing too much. Just doing a little bit too much. That's a red flag. Nobody wants someone that's in everybody's face because it doesn't make you feel like you're special. You in everybody's face. What makes me different? Also, when people just talk about looks all the time, oh, you're so beautiful, or you just look so good and you're handsome, whatever, right? Beauty is way deeper than just the skin. So we want to make sure it's just not surface level attraction, and also they're just not flirting with everybody. Red flags always chooses violence. That is their response when they're upset, when they're fearful, when things are not going their way, when they're not liking how things are happening. They want to choose violence. Even when they don't have a lot of money, they want to choose violence. Oh, we can just go into this store, we can just go into this bank. No, what's going on? So someone who always chooses violence, that's a red flag. They lack comprehension skills. Okay. There's a difference when you are having a conversation with someone and they're just listening to you versus when you're having a conversation with someone and they're actually comprehending what you're saying. They're able to say it back to you, or they're able to respond in a way that shows their comprehension. How well do they comprehend what you're saying? Do they really truly understand? Or is it going in one ear and out the other? Or are they listening to respond? Or are they listening to comprehend? So if there's a lack of comprehension, then that is an issue. And there are some people who really try to understand, but they just can't. That's a red flag to me as well, because you can't keep up with me, or I can't keep up with you. So if there's a lack of comprehension, there is issues, and that's a red flag. But as we said earlier, not all red flags are a done deal. So there are some things like, okay, that's not a big deal for you. So even though these are some red flags that stand out, you may say, well, that's not a big deal. That's not a big deal to me. I can deal with that. And then to each his own. However, we still must know they exist. You got to know that they are this way. So you're not, oh, I'm surprised. And the reality of it is the signs been there, but you ignore them because you've seen what you wanted to see. You've seen what you chose to see. They've been showed you who they were, but you ignored it. And that's the worst thing to do is to ignore So as long as you've seen it and you said, okay, I seen it, but I'm okay with it. Perfectly fine. Based on the red flags and whether you agree with them or not, you are making that decision. The choice is yours. Ultimately, you'll be able to be the determining factor on what you can and cannot tolerate. And you gotta ask yourself, are they worth moving forward with? Is it too much to bear? Is it too overwhelming for you? Or do they lack comprehension? You're telling them what affects you, but they are not truly comprehending. You said it, so they listen, but they're not comprehending. So they continuously do what you already told them you don't like. Now, because step 3 is about compatibilities and step 4 is about knowing the differences, writing things down, processing things, what are the areas you both handle oppositely? So think about the different things that you guys may do oppositely, maybe the way that you clean, the way that you guys talk, the way that you guys like to step out the house, how y'all look, where y'all go. There may be certain things that are done oppositely. However, is that okay with you? For instance, say if you're a man, you like your woman more reserved, not showing too much. You don't like them to reveal so much cleavage. However, the person that you're dating, they show a lot. They like to step out and show skin. Is that a problem for you? Is that something that you can deal with? Now, if you told her that you don't like her to dress that way and she still continues to dress that way, um, is it something that's an issue for you? Is it something that you can deal with for the long term? Is that someone that you'll be able to marry? Opposed to just connecting with someone who already covered up how you like without having to change them. Do they clean differently? Do they have a different upbringing? Do they have differences in opinions? Now, we all are entitled to our own opinions. We all are entitled to that. And it's okay to have an opposed opinion. That is our right. We don't always have to agree. We can agree to disagree. But it is important to know what areas are there differences in opinion. What are the areas? Because that's major. There's certain areas that you cannot have differences in like that because it will bring conflict. Like someone believes there is a God and the other person doesn't. That will be conflict in the home. Do they live a different lifestyle than you? Do they have a different way of handling challenges? Do they have a different way of handling challenging situations? How well can they handle challenging situations? There are going to be times where life will be challenging, where it's not a quick resolve, it's not immediate fix. So it's challenging. How well can they handle it? And what are the different ways do they handle conflict? Do they handle conflict with violence or hatred, aggression? Or do they handle conflict responsibly, respectable, maturely? How do they handle conflict, challenging situations that are not immediate resolves? And do they have different ways of communicating with you or with anyone? Some people like to step away, come back. Sometimes silence is the way that they communicate. They don't have anything to say. How do you like to be talked to? And how do they like to be talked to? Does the tone matter? If you are someone who don't like when people raise their voice, then someone who always raised their voice may be an issue. It may be a trigger to you. But this person, they've always raised their voice, and that's the way they communicate. They're loud. They're yelling. They're always yelling. That's how they communicate, yelling. But they're so used to it, it became a part of them. If you're someone that don't like all that loud talking, there might be an issue there. So how do they communicate? Consider what is most important to you and the differences. Are there areas you can compromise? Or is it a solid, I can't do it. I'm sorry. I want nothing but the best for you. I truly, honestly want the best for you. But you, for me, is no. Can you compromise with the differences that you are now observing, that you are now acknowledging, and you are now seeing? Or is it no? Are they acceptable or not acceptable to you? If they're not acceptable to you, then you don't have to accept them. You don't have to deal with what you don't want to deal with. There are times where people stay in relationships as if they're being forced to be in it. No, if that person is showing you that one, they're not considering the things that you're expressing to them, or two, the differences are just way too overbearing, you don't have to stay there. And that's okay. There will always be another one. God will send you someone where you can accept their differences. Now, there will be differences, and that is key, is to know that there will always be differences. No one is exactly the same. And there are times where differences are healthy because it's a different perspective, a different outlook, it's a different way of understanding. You're like, I didn't even think about things that way. Actually, that's a good idea. Actually, I like the way you think, right? There are times where it's healthy. It's not always a red flag. You're like, oh my goodness, where have you been all my life? I needed you. Like you helped balance me. Now is a balance on how I think and what you bring to the table and the way you think. Now you balance me out. So I don't go overboard. You're right, I should think about it. You're right, I should process it. You're right, I should sit back and be quiet. You're right, I should just sit back and observe. You're right, I shouldn't be that close to them. You're right. They did do me really wrong, right? Different outlook, different perspective. And at times, differences can be the balance that you needed. That actually ends step 4. I pray that this has been a blessing to you. If you like this step 4 discussion, I highly recommend going to our website at www.ourfaithconnects.com. Register your email, and we will send you over this PDF. Just in case you want to review it while you're in the presence of someone and you don't have to listen to these videos. Thanks, everyone.